cheating, we have 5 members now.
Well, the second team that has 5 members in this team, we have EBEC. So if you'd like to have 8 minutes of presentation, not 3 minutes of question. 8 minutes including the pitch. Good luck.
Hello, we are National Selection Team and welcome to our presentation. Today we have something special for you that you have never seen before. So, what is the problem? The problem is that we need to help people with special needs because it's hard to navigate on the road and underground, especially in metropolitan and or buy tickets. So we had 2 ways to solve this. The first is change all transport system, but it's expensive, and create the device we will help to navigate. But we have something extremely new. The concept only allows people to collect the information about outside world. We created a device that gives the ability to communicate with world. We created worldview.
Let me present you something really amazing. Nothing uses only 2 buttons. One to turn on the voice command, and the second for regulating the sound. All you need is to turn on the button and say something like, "Okay, worldview, take me to the mall," and the device will make the best road to the nearest one. And you remember we will contact the transport system, and it will help our customer to find the right stop, the right bus, and to get inside. The infrared image sensor will understand if the seat is already taken, and most of the transport system allow you to buy tickets online, so we propose to use the special application that will help our customers to buy tickets. It will be fully functional for ticket service. We have a highly cognitive microphone and the compact earphone that allows you to really hear the outside world and the device at the same time. Also, we have 2 digital cameras here and here. They scan all around you all the time, and if something approaching you is a potential danger, it can be a tentative or a movement object, it will tell you immediately. And now things become really interesting. Do you remember when we told you about the new concept? And the idea is to use a laser indicator system. It will show our customer to the world. It is very compact, only 5 lasers, 2 in front and 3 in back, something similar now used for bikes.
And now we look inside our device. First, we use Droid operating system because it is open source, and that's why we can easily implement it in our device. Motherboard, RAM, and processor are located actually in shell at the back side, and our battery is allocated inside the back arcs. But you can easily connect additional power banks to extend work time. And for voice recognition, we use the Google Speech API because it is really reliable and free. And for navigation, we use Google Maps API with the GPS location system. But we would like to stick to Galileo location system because it have really highly accurate and work underground. So, for all the system, we need really fully operational high-speed 4G model. And in addition, thanks to SPASnet, we gathering information about existing technologies that are patented, and we decided to use some of them in our device. Okay, first, system for sending information for the blind and visually impaired people. The second one, boarding assistance system and the message for urban public transport. And the last one, it is a portable road planning and occupant identification device for the visually impaired people. Those three technologies are protected. But cooperation is live, and we think that their authors will cooperate with us to work our goal a little bit better.
So basically, what differs us from other companies? They don't suggest to users something that will do everything at once. You have like walking canes, you have all these indicators, they have the system that helps to guide, but they don't have the devices that put it all together. And also, they are very expensive, hard to get, and not that reliable. So basically, what differs us from other companies is that we suggest everything. We give people the world. And what about business things? So we calculated the cost of production, and it's supposed to be something around $500 per device. The calculation is based on modern existing technologies and devices. And we think that it will be pretty okay to sell it for like $700 or $800 because that's the price of regular smartphone. But our device is not regular smartphone. It gives people who have troubles in their life to make their life better. So now it's time for the pitch. I would say that our device is simple. It is really all-in-one device. It is very compact and works perfectly. It is very friendly because it's easy to use it. It has voice command and it basically does everything for you. It is effective because we can give person who needs this everything that they need. We give them the navigation system that helps them to go from the place A to the place B. We also give them the safety system that will allow them to walk on the streets safely with no additional help. They don't need dogs and they don't need friends. I know it sounds strange, but still. And we give them the device, the laser thing that allows the world to know about them. So basically, if you're a person that life is so crucial on, like to take care of vision, the most precious thing in the earth, isn't this the best thing that you can have? I think we all know the answer. And the answer is yes. Yes to the world view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team Ukraine, for this passionate presentation.
Any questions maybe from you?
I have a question regarding the laser, the activation of this laser. How it works.
Okay, it depends on the user. We give you basically two options. User can have this laser activated all the time, and also this can be activated only if an object approaches person. Like the modern sensors can allow us to see everything up to 20-30 meters. That's enough for the car driver to spot the person who is visually impaired. So there's like two options. Okay.
The laser, I looked down, are they visible? Yes, they are,
Yes.
because they are a safety system. Did you think about the day and the night possibility?
Yeah, sure. The thing is, like another option for the user is that we can just build in additional sensors that we basically collect the light and see if it's a day or night. And if it's night, it will always work, definitely. And also, we can easily program that with the device. So that's the thing. And that at day, it will only work if it needed like additional signaling, and at night, it will always work.
I have another question. You talk and then it picks up to the microphone and it translates using normal Android
Google Speech API, yes.
How does it return information?
Oh, we have a 4G module, and it uses internet connection. Basically, like the device
How
collects.
do you know as a blind person? Do you get the information in what kind of way?
Annual. Everything is in your headphone.
Okay.
Yeah, only like that. Because and also we were not so sure about modern audio technologies if they can work so fast, but we checked, and actually it works really fast. And like those devices, they can basically answer you almost immediately, like it's half of the second.
And the third question, or other functions?
We have additional, oh, I'm sorry. We have additional USB, like port, and you can connect simple power bank if it happens. I mean, it's not hard. You can just connect it. And also, well, it's supposed to handle the device for 1 day at least, and I think that's like enough for the person to have it.
Any more questions?
About the still camera?
Well, as it says here, it's a part of a big family. So that's our mascot basically.
Well, thank you very much, Nikolai. Good luck. Is Poland. You have 8 minutes including the speech, plus 3 minutes for questions. Good luck.
Hello everyone, we are a case study team from Poland. My name is Nikolai Dudziński, he is Grzegorz Radoszek, and we are all from aerospace major. Let's start with a quick introduction. Blind people are facing a lot of problems when traveling, especially when they are traveling to the destination they never really before. There are a lot of existing devices that are made to help them, but there are a lot of problems with them. For example, there is an add-on for a stick that made them alarm of the obstacles they are having and the navigation for blind people. But they are big, expensive, cumbersome, and usually have just one feature. That's why we decided to go with a different approach. We want to embed as much features as possible in as much as affordable in a device very affordable. We proudly announce to you EPO system. Smart travel for visually impaired. Our product consists of few elements. There is our improved blind stick, the direction sensor, Bluetooth, vibration motor. It's made out of steel and blended carbon fiber, and it's available in 2 differently priced versions, with or without optical alarm. It also connects to the smartphone, which almost all of us have, which has GPS and internet connection, and that's it. You just have to install our app that's connecting stick to smartphone, which is communicating with Google Maps navigation and has a voice over functionality, so it's easy to operate by blind persons. There are 2 ways to interact with our speaker. First of all, it might give you feedback by voice over instructions or hand vibrations, which is much more discreet. Let's go to the examples of use. Because we are using Google Maps, it's very easy to set a path between destination A or B, with or without using of public transport. So when you are going through the pavement, your stick is giving you directions, it gives you instructions about how far you have to go, when you have to turn, and also useful information. For example, when you're crossing the road, or information when your bus or tram is leaving. Its features is lightweight, not partially light, but most importantly, it's very cheap. Let's go to the patents. We first specify classification category in which the devices we are interested in are. We started with human necessities and can go from medical or veterinary science, hygiene, physical therapy apparatus, appliances for ID patients or disabled persons to walk about, walking aids for blind persons, and finally, sticks for blind persons with electronic detection or guiding. The first patent is gave us idea about the obstacle sensors. As you can see, it's Chinese, so we are free to use it in Europe. The second one has embedded GPS navigation, but as you can see, we decided to use the sensor we already have, so we don't have to double it. So we are reducing the cost. And this one is also Chinese. The last one is intelligent multifunctional blindfolding stick. which gave us idea about much more sensitive direction sensor when the one which is in your smartphone is resting in your pocket. And this one is also free to use on the in Europe. Let's go to the business plan and visibility. We estimated the price of standard version of Rostic for just 80 euros and the premium version with obstacle detector for 160 euros, which is much less than different devices on the market right now. Let's go to the Gantt chart. As you can see, for 3 years we would need 180,000 euros to start a project, and we will be able to set our product on the market after 1.5 years. What about the distribution? We decided to go with the business to client system, so it can be shipped worldwide as well, not to China. About financing, we believe there is a huge need on the market for such products, so we want to go with the crowdfunding website like Kickstarter or similar to gather the money we need to start. So it's time to sum everything up. Our device is working with existing one that almost every one of us have. It's have new level of functionality. It's as cheap as possible, and it's making transport of blind people easier than ever before. So we are helping people in need. Thank you.
I have a question. How do you pay for system?
Once again,
How do you pay for your transport?
Buy the tickets. Only buy the tickets.
no. It's about when you're using the internet website like Google Maps,
Yeah.
and let's say you want to go to the city to Brno, it
Yeah.
says to you that you have to walk to the tram
Yeah.
and go by public transport.
Yeah.
So our device is actually like giving the directions that you have to go there, and makes using the public transport much easier with the informations like your tram will be here in a minute and
Yeah.
things like that. So we based our system on public transport that already exists and make it
So how do you
easier.
pay for the travel?
I see that Nikolai probably didn't answer the question. You thought about the way that already exists on the Polish market. It's
Yeah.
called Skycash in our country, and you're basically buying a ticket to the app on your mobile phone. So that's the way we thought about. Like similar solution that if you're going to use a tram for 10 minutes, it's gonna buy you automatically the ticket you need.
And it also will be embedded in our application.
Okay.
There was a plan,
Yeah.
there was a plan with the application or switching to the application with two buttons. One says I can see, the other one is I am blind. How does the blind person say the right button?
So there are already existing smartphones on the market that are for the blind people, and also the one we are using has special modes that allows blind people to use them. And also you could see the special like etui for case for the phone that makes it easier to push the part of the screens that you want to. So we want to make application that will be working on both devices, for visible and blind.
And actually, almost every smartphone nowadays has the option for visually impaired, so it may not be a huge choice.
Yeah.
I saw also a lot of Chinese documents that you signed. I understand, okay, you found the documents, we can use it in Europe. But did you look for European or check other applications with what you want?
Actually, when we go to the research and found the patents we were interested in, there was this problem with the communication. So what we did actually was we searched for the devices that are already develop our product, but we didn't have like
This was experiment not use data EPO.
Thank you.
You can ask more questions because they were on the line. No?
If you desire, we
No,
have.
no, no, it's just that, what's the time,
They had 2 minutes when they finished.
yeah.
We might have more questions.
They put 2 minutes.
I don't think we need to stick to exactly the same number for questions. Yeah, yeah, well, thank you very much.
Good luck.
So we're going to present our case study on the public transport system for the visually impaired. I don't think. Okay, sorry. So our recommendation overview involves the design of a versatile transport system solution, a detailed overview of the utilized technical solutions, an inclusion of a freedom to operate report, and also an overview of the novelties and optimizations included, and a final part of economic analysis. Our transport system solution involves it's a door-to-door system. You go from point A, that can be, for example, the client's house, go to the transport stop. Then, at the transport stop, you need to enter the bus and go to an empty seat. Then you have the transport trip itself, and then go from the empty seat to the exit stop, and from the exit stop to the user's final destination. From the client's house or the point A to the transport stop, when the client is at the point A, he or she turns on the app and indicates the intended destination using voice commands. The app then links to Google Maps and indicates the best transportation option and price. Then the client turns on the smart walking stick, and this incorporates the client's destination and transportation options. The client then leaves the point A and receives voice commands from the app towards their transportation stop. So, when the client arrives at the transportation stop, the app indicates if the transport is arriving, and the user confirms in app that he accepts the definite travel cost. And upon arrival, when the vehicle arrives, a buzzer incorporated in the smart walking stick connects to proximity sensors in the doors of the vehicle, which permits the using voice commands that the client enters the vehicle. Upon entrance, the app then senses if a priority seat is vacant, and if it's vacant, if it is vacant, then guides the customer to its seat. Next. And then we have the transport trip itself. The app links to Google Maps and identifies the client's relative position to the final stop and gives the estimated time of arrival. Then when the vehicle reaches its final stop, you have to get the customer out of the empty seat and to the transportation stop, and the app provides another indication when that fact is happening, and the smart walking stick permits that the client exit the bus. Then you have and then you need to go from the exit stop to the client's final destination, and it's the same thing as from the first, from point A to the initial transportation stop. We have an overview of the utilized technical solutions that mainly involve weight sensors, LED infrared emitters, and the smart walking stick. And if you have any technical questions, you can ask us at the end.
When it comes to the freedom to operate report, first of all, you see a patent that we're looking into from a SPASnet, from an intelligent walking stick. As you can see, it's only in an application, it's not patented already, so we have freedom to operate. And the 3 remaining ones, which is this one and these 2, are taken from another software because we looked into them later in the afternoon. And as you can see, all of them are pending or expired. So we also have freedom to operate, and we didn't have any concern on further licensing required. When it comes to problems and optimizations, we looked into the typical problems of these transportation systems for the disabled, and we found ways to solve those problems. First of all, when the user is alone, he or she may not be capable of announcing his or her presence to the driver, but since the user actually has to accept travel costs, the driver is notified in a specific monitor designed for the effect and can then recognize that a user is at the stop. The payment can sometimes be considerably time-consuming and difficult, especially when acquiring a ticket, but since everything is done in-app, all of those problems are solved. There's also, users are typically also reliant on others to find entrances or exits, but since we are incorporating the app and the walking stick, we have great user autonomy which solves all of this. Then there's the balancing of costs and travel time, and since we have an optimization of the user's routes and the easiness of payment, both of them quicken travel time without actually adding any costs, so the balance goes into our favor. And finally, the existence of several software solutions that are incompatible is solved by our dedicated app, which combines all of them in a very easy to use and single interface. Afterwards, we have a monetization strategy. We estimated initial costs, and we estimated our market for a medium-sized city. In our next slide, you can see a table of our projection, and what I can say is that we are monetizing and we are selling to the municipalities the equipment required to run the app and provide the app for free, and then if the user wants to acquire additional comfort, you can buy the walking stick for 60 euros. All of this is translated into this chart. We are selling the solution to 3 different municipalities. As you can see, we achieve break-even point after the 6th year. All of that is, after that, all is revenue. So this is a very economically sustainable solution. And then there's the benefits and funding possibilities. Our solution is extremely inclusive. There's a very good public image associated to the municipality which invests in helping the visually impaired, and it goes very well in line with the very typical smart city initiatives that we see nowadays in Europe. And there's actually even better benefits for the companies, which for the municipalities, which can actually go for the European disability strategy for 2010-2020, which actually has an accessibility pillar which allows the municipalities access to the European Social Fund, which allows up to 10 billion euros per year to be granted to initiatives such as this one, which promote accessibility within Europe. And finally, as a conclusion and as our final business pitch, our proposed system greatly improves the visually impaired users' travel safety, efficiency, and overall comfort. Our proposed solution is sold to municipalities via the app, as I've said, and the installation of all required sensors, with the app being provided for free. Additional comfort can be sought by the users via the acquisition of the smart walking stick for 60 euros. Our proposed system goes well in line with existing patterns, and so we have freedom to operate. The proposed solution is easy to implement within municipalities and very well scalable to larger municipalities. We only have to increase the number of sensors and mechanisms because we have a very good and very powerful app system. Finally, our business is very profitable for the startup company as well, and all in all, municipalities can seek for additional support from European countries. So this is a very sustainable initiative for both the company and the municipalities, and it greatly improves the lives of the visually impaired. So all in all, we would recommend this solution to be adopted in as many municipalities in the Czech Republic as possible. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to respond.
Somebody has not bought a stick yet. You get it from the municipality, or you use it?
We're selling, as a startup, we're selling the stick. But basically what we're doing is we sell to a municipality the whole range of sensors and everything that is required for the buses, trains, etc. We provide the app for free, and the app works with the sensors. So a user without our walking stick can still use the system with a little bit less comfort. So what we're selling to the municipality is the system itself. If the users want to buy additional comfort, they can buy the walking stick from us.
And the walking stick, how does it allow the user to find the right entrance?
Okay.
Okay, so the arrives at,
Yeah.
when the vehicle is at the transport station,
Yeah.
there is infrared light emitter at the transport and at the door of the vehicle,
Yeah.
and the walking stick has a detector of such infrared light
Yeah.
and has connection to the app.
Yeah.
So the app indicates how closer the user is getting, and
So
then
without the stick, if they didn't buy the stick, then they wouldn't catch the infrared.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
true.
That is why we're selling additional comfort
Yeah.
via the stick.
Yeah.
It's a clever solution.
Thank you.
What about the battery, the sticks and this thing, what happens when the battery dies?
Okay,
There are
basically,
contingency plans,
yes, actually we have here, this was a very good presentation, that's why we couldn't specifically mention the details, but when we design our smart walking stick, it's true we have a battery, but we also have a power jack. So it's a rechargeable battery. So the user gets home and he charges the power stick so it never runs out. And it has a very long economy. There's economies of up to 10 hours. So if you're commuting for longer periods than 10 hours, you would have to charge on the meanwhile. But if not, if you're commuting like everyday people typically do, you would have more than enough battery to go and return, for example.
And of course, if in the long shot that the smart walking stick quits to function, they still have walking stick and can
Yeah.
use that. It's a benefit to other systems that don't incorporate that solution.
If battery dies, it's not a smart walking stick anymore. It's just a walking stick.
Thank you, Team Portugal. If the jury doesn't have any more questions.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our main objective today will be the transportation of people to our visual. Okay, let's take a look at the context of our presentations. We're going to start to present ideas and plans that can be implemented right now. Advanced electronic helping aids that use advanced sensors for obstacle detection, smart transportation systems that help people who are visually impaired transfer around town easily, and smartphone applications that guide them through the every step. The second part of our presentation focuses on more on the opportunities arise with the technological development of our times. We're confident enough to say that in the near future, blind people will be able to see through the digital eyes and use everyday appliances like smartphones, computers, with the help of the electrological fluid technology. Okay, but let's take it from the beginning. Today. Okay. Electronic case is a pattern that it's already in use, and they use smart sensors for obstacle detection and can help the user avoid any obstacle that stands in his way. Real-time application with blind map. Blind map is a device that helps the user understand the relief of the ground by the device that is in his hand. It works with dots that come up and down, like step down, step up, etc. Okay, and earphones, navigation and smartphone applications guide the user through his own journey. Okay, let's say that a user plans a journey and he has to take a bus or a train. He reaches the bus station. And once he reaches the bus station, a notification comes up in his earphones that he's there. Another notification comes up when the bus is there. The bus opens its door and a sound comes out to help the user to locate the front door of the bus in order to enter. When he enters the bus, the magnetic sensor that is next to the door tracks the user's bracelet, which is connected to his bank account, in order for him to buy a ticket electronically. The bracelet vibrates to notify the user that he bought his ticket, and a red light opens to notify the driver that he bought the ticket. The light stays open for as long as the ticket is valid, and vibrates twice to notify the user that he has no longer a ticket. Okay, he has a ticket, he has to sit right now. He walks through the aisle of the bus, and there's moving sensors to each row of the seats. And every time he passes, there's a sound from the next, to the right, on the left side to notify him if there is a free seat. There are sensors under the seats to know if the seat is free or not. If the user hears one beep, it's like the seat next to him is free. Two beeps is like next to the window. Okay. Click. Okay, and as I said before, navigation systems and smartphone applications are all connected. All the systems, the cane, the blind map, and the GPS system, with the earphones to notify the user what the next step will be. Sorry. Please. Sorry.
Hello everyone, my name is Dimitris and I'm going to talk about a more futuristic approach on the topic. First of all, in order to make the lives of the visually impaired more easily, we propose digital eyes, which is basically a pair of glasses that has endless possibilities. For example, the glasses is an already patented product that we found on the Espasen website, and we thought it has a camera and also it transmits real data and to a distant computer for processing. The basic concept behind it's more like augmented reality, but the user, instead of seeing images, he listens to sentences from an advanced communication artificial intelligence system. For that reason, the data is transmitted to a supercomputer, as I said, for processing and through 4G communication, and then it's transmitted back to give the user an idea of his surroundings and his environment. Of course, the patent that we found had some drawbacks. For example, it has a single-sided communication between the user and the glasses, which means that it didn't have a microphone and software for voice commands. So we proposed that we could have a microphone and the software to give the user the ability to give commands and interact better with the glasses. Okay.
Hello. No. My name is Aris, and I'm going to talk to you about the second drawback that we faced. Okay, so we're talking about visual data. With these glasses, we're talking about so much data, so much information. Even if we assume a system that excludes some kind of this data, some of this data to reach the computer, we can think that, okay, some of this data cannot be translated to hearing data, to sound data, to sound information. So we thought about, okay, what about additional data that doesn't reach users, that the user needs crucial data for his safety and for his navigation, but the computer gets also additional data that never reaches the user. So we thought about that we need to include another way of communicating with the user. So we thought about electroradiological smartphone displays, which are already patented since 2006. Okay, so the real innovation comes to the point when the user is able to communicate through display with the controller or get real-time data from it. So we are talking about information, secondary information, which can reach the user in real time. Like, for example, if you are a blind person and you pass by a grocery store, this is not crucial information, this is not necessary for your navigation, but it could be additional information reaching you. So we envisioned future, a better future for blind people through technology. So thank you very much for your attention.
Yes. So in the solution of tomorrow, the last thing that you showed, does it become up as a dry kind of thing that you correct? What happens if the battery goes down in this spring? The battery tomorrow.
Okay. We thought about this display as secondary data that will be necessary for users' navigation or safety. We thought about that this information might be additional for his comfort. So we don't think that it's crucial for his navigation to his destination.
I have another question regarding costs. What sort of business model you would build around your technology solution?
Okay, we have to focus on the business model, to be honest. But the patterns that we suggested we use for today's plan are kind of already used. Like for the front case, the additions we made are micro additions, like we have the GPS system or a glass sensor, a second sensor on the beginning and the end. But as far as question to business,
Any more questions from the users?
In the use of Fastnet, did you focus on today's things or tomorrow's things? Can you explain a little bit?
Okay, we kind of did both. We
Yeah.
found some patterns for today's things.
Yeah.
And we added them all together and we mixed them up so that we could reach a point where blind people where we could improve blind people's lives. And as far as tomorrow is concerned, we also find some patterns, which is the glasses and the bright technology, which is the electrological fluids. But we never found these technologies combined. And we also added the drawbacks, the additions that we want, the modifications we want this technology to have.
we basically found three patterns. We took two and analyzed them for today and one and took it to the next level. We actually added more things that we weren't sure of.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We are having the sixth presentation of the Delus. Good luck. We have 8 minutes, including the pitch, plus 3 minutes of questions.
Okay. This little girl is my cousin Julie, and just like 40 million other people around the world, she is sentenced to a life without vision. Never will she be able to see her own beautiful blue eyes, and everyday tasks like eating, playing around, or showering are massive tasks for her, let alone going to school on her own like all her classmates do. People like Julie, they really need our help, and not in the future, but right now. That's why we bring to you Seymour, an augmented reality-based tool that converts invisible images to perceivable sounds. Next one, please. Let me try to explain you our solution. So first of all, we try to navigate our client to his desired destination by an audible like voice that tells him how to go, based on an app that is supported by Google Maps. This is not really the innovative part of our solution. The really innovative part is that we created a system that is making a mental image of the surroundings for our clients. And we do this, or we achieve this in 3 steps. So first of all, An image is recorded in real time with a combination of a camera and a distance sensor that are integrated in the glasses. This image is then transferred to an app on your smartphone, where a software processes the image into sound, and this sound finally is transmitted to earbuds in your ear, where it is added to the sounds of the environment that already exist. Now, an additional advantage of our project is that you can also filter noises in the environment out of it, like for instance airplanes that fly by, so they don't bother applying them anymore. Next slide, please. And lastly, from marketing point of view, we are supported by EBU, European Blind Union, one of the biggest blind associations in Europe. They are not only sponsoring us, but they are also promoting us on social media like Facebook and Twitter. But in addition, we are invited to present our concept at 2 of their upcoming events that are shown there, one in Germany, one in Malta. So that's really already a nice kickoff for our project. Furthermore, probably because of the high moral impact of our project, we're also having a lot of success at the Kickstarter website, where we are getting a lot of donations. And lastly, we are cooperating with Czech StarCube. It's a Czech Republic startup accelerator that is guiding us throughout the process because they have a lot of experience. So thanks for your attention. I hope I could convince you to choose for Seymour a sound solution.
So we will now go into a bit more detail about the working principles of our application. As we told you, this is Julie. Julie is blind, but she still likes to visit her friends in the neighborhood. And now she can, thanks to our product. So the 3 things our product consists of are firstly an application on a smartphone, a custom application we will develop, a pair of AR headsets or earplugs, and a high-tech pair of glasses. So first, before we go into how this all works, we will shortly talk about the system requirements for our system. So the input from different sensors mainly comes from our high-tech glasses. They contain a distance sensor and a camera, which deliver the inputs to our phone. They also contain small directional vibration actuators in the legs of our glasses, which can tell the blind person to walk slightly to the right or to the right or to the left when they vibrate. They also contain a separate powered panic button, which the user can press when either his glasses or his application run out of battery. Secondly, the processing happens in the phone. Our application contains different pieces of software for example, calculating routes between location A and B, for billing, for image recognition of the images that come into our phone, and sends out audio and vibration instructions to the headphones and the glasses respectively. The third part are, of course, the AR headphones, which take care of the output portion of our system. They send audio instructions to our user. As Dieter told, they also contain some noise cancellation technology. So for example, if a plane flies by, the phone will record the sound, but the noise from the plane will be repressed. So we will now talk about the workings of our application a bit more. The first part, when traveling from location A to B, happens before departure. The application we wrote will be voice controlled, so the user can talk to the application. And voice instructions also come back from the application to the user through the headphones. We will integrate the API from Google Maps, so the user can use it to calculate different routes between location A and location B. The user then will select one route and pay for this route. But payment won't happen immediately, because that would be most impractical. Payment will happen at the end of the month through a monthly billing system to make it more easy for the user to use. Oh, yeah. And now the user is ready to leave his house.
And then the patterns that we used. We had a short look at the patterns. The first example that we thought of was augmented reality, but their concept was to broaden the vision. So they had a camera and it was broadened.
we circumvent this patent because we don't really follow the vision, we just process it into sound. So the two main technologies that we wanted to use for the second and third patent. For the second patent, there's not really a problem because there's no equivalent version in Europe. For the third patent, there is. But as it's still not granted this patent, it will be a source of uncertainty in the future. But as we can be a source of revenues for them, the collaboration between the patent holder and us can be the beneficiary for both parties. And then the fourth patent is an example of what we want to do, but it's only granted in China, so it's also not really a problem for us.
So now let's have a look at the timeline and the financial plan. Here we focus mainly on hedging, so spreading the risk. As you can see in this timeline, we separated our production into two main production steps. So we started with ID development, patent control, the start of the R&D, and then we did the first crowdfunding and a promo tour, as Dieter told us, with EBU. And then we start with a first small production aimed to get feedback and to spread the risk of investment. In case of success, we can use that feedback to develop our product further, and to do, in case of success, a new promo tour and a new crowdfunding, so we could start the real production, the real big production of our trademark product. Afterwards, we can do another patent check and an internationalization, of course. Yeah, here you can see the result of the hedging and the profile for the best case scenario, but it's more important for the worst case scenario. For the worst case scenario, the hedging results that we can stop already here if it is not going good before doing the next large investments. So thank you for listening. We will see more, providing you a sound solution. Thank you.
Thank you, and now it's time for questions.
You skipped 2 slides.
Yeah.
I was curious about the image recognition part in your solution. You mentioned it, that it's part of the solution. Can you explain?
Yeah, so we have the image recognition, and we mainly, so we have a GPS that we try to make visible by the yellow one, then we have the object sensor, so we know how far it is, so that she has a dot on her head, okay? And then we have the image recognition, so you can see by software that you process on the camera, okay, this is a pathway, and it's this right, and like, if she starts moving like this, you know she's going to the corner, so with the vibrations, you know, okay, we keep her in the middle. So the image recognition is it's like a software that you let loose on the visual, on the images of the camera, and from that you can take a lot of info and give it to her by small vibrations or by vocal instructions.
Okay, then my next question comes. You're quite dependent on the batteries in the glasses, in the camera. What happens if the batteries are gone? Yes.
That's what the panic button over there.
So you have a little bit of energy and panic.
Yeah, but I know it's like a lot of people who have diseases, they also have a panic button. It's a small button that has communication inside, small batteries inside. And I also think if you are depending on technology like this, it's like, okay, you're at home at night, it's an automatic thing to do, put your glasses in. And if you put a battery in the glasses that can last for 1 week, it would be really strange if you forget to do it 1 week in a row. But even if you do, you still have the panic button, which is independent of the system.
It's independently powered, so it shouldn't go out with the glasses. And the battery dies more slowly because it isn't as heavy. It's not doing anything wrong.
How do they communicate between each other?
of which 82% are over 50 years old. Moreover, in Prague only there are 10,000 people that are visually impaired.
Imagine how it would be like to, for a visually impaired person to travel around this city just like a normal person, only with the help of a smart bracelet. We designed this concept in order to help people get easier around their town. Our smart bracelet has Bluetooth low energy integration, RFID sensors inside. Also, we have an infrared-based seat finding system, which we are going to tell you more about later. An accelerometer-based inside bus navigation, a vibration-based notification system, and everything is connected with your smartphone. You also can give instructions to your smartphone, and your smartphone could easily connect to already existing devices such as smart canes or Bluetooth headsets. Also, throughout the city, we will use RFID and BDA beacons in order to localize you more accurately than a standard GPS would do. Also, we are talking with already existing systems inside the buses. So your bracelet will tell you what bus are you waiting for, what bus comes. It will also help you pay for your bus ride. And where this technology isn't available, we are going to use RFID tags that will be mounted on buses in order to lower the costs of developing new technology. Alright, so
we consider safety first. So what happens if you run out of battery or feel lost? Well, our bracelet has a panic button that when pressed will send an SOS signal with your current location to the desired content. What happens if you're in a crowd intersection and you can get out, where our bracelet will tell you where you are and how to get out using vibrating signals. What happens if you want to get into a bus that is about to leave? Well, that won't happen, because our bracelet will send a signal to the driver announcing him that the visually impaired person is about to get in. For towns that have infrastructure for visually impaired people, they will be able to use our product along with another already existing technologies if they want, such as smart things, for example. For towns that do not have this infrastructure and it is hard to adapt it, we thought of a second product, a vest with micromotors that will vibrate every time you are facing an obstacle.
Okay, after defining our concept, we searched with the ESPAS tool, and we found two similar concepts of bracelets, but they were using the blind system. And and also a patent providing bus driving information, and one concerning a smart cane. This was where the technology we could connect to.
Yeah, we also ranked the patents in order of how easier or risky it would be for us to use the technology inside, and we also researched the legal status of each and every submission, and we tried to classify all those articles, but we brought some new innovation. We only used little parts of the already existing systems. What we are innovating with is an accelerator-based system that will help you get out of the bus. The bracelet will learn what route you have inside the bus, and they will vibrate in order to get you back out from the bus. Also, we will use an infrared system to detect whether or not you are passing by an empty seat. Why? Because it's very hard for a visually impaired person to see inside a bus and to know where the seats are empty or not. Also, inside the city, we will have RFID tags or Bluetooth low energy beacons mounted on the lampposts in order to tell you the exact location where you are. And also, what happens if you are in the underground and you don't have any GPS signal? Well, the RFID tags could be built inside pavement, could be built built-in inside walls, and you can easily scan them without the need to touch them. You can scan them from 30 centimeters or even from 1 meter and know the exact position. Alright, and we will also have integration with already existing systems on check buses. You know, I don't know if you've noticed, every check bus has a loudspeaker in front of it. It was designed in 1998 for the visually impaired people. They would have remote control, they would press the remote control button, and that loudspeaker will tell them which bus it is and where it goes. We will integrate our bracelet with this already existing technology, and also we will try to adapt our technology for the cities where this system do not exist, because we will stick RFID tags on the doors and on each side of the bus in order for the visually impaired person to be able to scan each and every bus passing by. But we have to get some money. Well, the town hall will provide money for infrastructure, and the Health Ministry of Czech Republic, the NGOs, and the visually impaired people will raise money in order to buy their own products. Alright, this is how we are going to sustain this business. And we also have a SWOT analysis. Andrei will talk a little more about it.
We have some strengths in our product, like time efficient, it's easy to implement. We have all the necessary products to implement them and put together. We have flexibility and also modularity and scalability for small towns and big towns also. And also it's safe. Like opportunities, we have adaptability to other technology. We can link more than one module, like cane, to the same mobile phone. And as a witness, we thought about the majority of people that are that have visibility payments are over 15 years. We also make a grant charter. So we do the testnet research first. After that, we define our specification. We project planning. We also know we have a bureaucracy problem. We must fund our funding. After that, we will develop our software and hardware. We are testing, and now after that, we will get the feedback.
Just to clarify, not the bureaucracy problem, just that it takes a lot to get the documents through all the approvals.
And also the patent from EPO.
Okay, so now we may proceed with the questions from juries.
Yeah.
One question, how do you pay? Is the plan for paying for your transport?
Alright, so in the cities that use tickets, like paper-based tickets, you would know how to reach the ticket machine inside the bus, because it will be hard-coded on your bracelet. You will know with the help of those accelerometers how to get onto that ticket machine. If the system is a little bit smarter and uses NPC cards, then because we already have the RFID tag scanner and tag reader writer, we can use that in order to communicate with the bus, or we can even use Bluetooth Low Energy in order to tell the bus directly, well, I'm inside the bus, I'm going to travel with this bus, text me. So that's how it would work, with the help of the bracelet. And because we've integrated all the possible technologies for taxing inside the bracelet, it's easier for taxing.
Okay. And what was the cost in terms of the whole system? Because you talked about how you get money in.
Yeah.
But how much money goes out?
Alright, so it depends heavily on the city. Some cities would like to invest into mobility in order to get out money from people going to work, let's say, for example. So it's really hard to create a global in and out analysis of funding, because it depends from city to city. But we estimate that the investment in the cities that already have those systems integrated won't be greater than 200 or 300 euros per bus maximum in order to adapt. But we estimated roughly at 50 euros per bus for buses that have all the systems inside. Yeah. because we had only to add Bluetooth Low Energy module to talk with the inner computer and it's very cheap.
Plus, they already have the loudspeakers.
Yeah, they already have the loudspeakers and so on, and every system, and you will only attach a Bluetooth Low Energy module and 3 RFID tags on the doors, and that's it. So it can go very low with the price. And us, as developers, we will get money from selling the product and from partnerships with the Ministry of Health, because we mentioned the Ministry of Health, which has programs for helping visually impaired people, and they really desire, they have a really strong desire to invest money into this kind of technologies.
Then thank you for answering and for the nice presentation.
Thank you very much for your time.
Everyone, the French participants, and with Paul, Florian, Fabien, and me, Damien, we are here to represent our startup, Mon Ami. So today we brought to you a solution for a public transport service for visually impaired people. First, let's do a little pitch. I want you to imagine a scene, and for that I will ask the help from my friend. So imagine two people, a blind person and a non-blind one. So they both want to go to the same place, the same at work. So for that, the blind person just has to send a vocal request to his phone with the destination. Then the phone will compute the best itinerary, both by walking and public transport, for him to do that. And it will use what we call an RFID device for sending auto information. The RFID device will be connected to thousands of chips that will be placed on crossroads, buses, stops, so it can be guided in the city. Now they both arrive at the right bus stop, and the bus is coming. So the device is warning the blind person that the bus is here, and the door is open. So the non-blind person goes in the bus. But for the blind person to do the same, he just has to press a button, and the door starts to make some noise, so he can be guided in the bus. So now they are both in the bus and can reach the same destination at the same time. So you now understood that they are both able to move in the city with the same public transport. So a blind person can do just as well as a non-blind one. So now we have to understand the pitch is over. Thank you, my friends. And you have to imagine you have to understand that the efficiency and the precision of this device must be really important. And the device has to deal with some issues. For instance, when more than one bus is coming, so it has to deal with this priority order, and the technology part will be explained to you later. Now we'll let Florian talk about the pattern.
So, firstly, for the project, we made a brainstorming together for this new idea to implement the RFID technology, and we have some keywords that we use in the espace text. So we did the database for the patterns provided by the European Patent Office to have some patterns related to this issue. So as you can see, we have a little list of the patterns we let related to this issue of transporting blind people. And so we have finally choose two patterns. The first one is the blind one, which is the intelligent public transport system based on RFID. It's the utility model, that means that we can use it. Just an example, we can provide the company, and it is in China, so it will not have some problems for the operation for Czech Republic. And it is about using RFID to manage the traffic, which was a bit related, but the second one is more interesting. It is the data communication system for use by the Apple, used by a French company, which is EBEC. This pattern is about communication between tags, one tag for the blind people and one tag for blind athletes, and they give information between them, and there is some communications. Here, we can use it to do remote control, used by a disabled to make some noises around the traffic lights to warn him where the road to cross or the trains when they're here. And we make sure that we can use it for the Czech Republic, because the request for extension of the program have been debated when we check on the family contents and the publicity issues. That's supervisory farm for this patent, and we had the tracking issues for our project. So I will let you, Fabien, explain how the technology works for our project.
I'm going to technology. We use radio frequency identification. We put numerous devices on the city and transport. So it's an 16 bytes identifier, and the mobile phone identifies the spot. The range of this device is 2 meters. It's useful to localize the spot, and the blind people can find it. Then blind people have also GPS technology on the smartphone, so it can be utilized during the navigation. They can control the system by vocal recognition, and this system is in an application with another class, so it can control by voice, and the application will send data by audio. It has to be ergonomic because we send a lot of data and it doesn't have to overflow the user. So we choose some data for this application. 3 types of data: the localization data, so the RFID code, it can be transported or parcel. Then we have the navigation data to have the lines, the schedules, and the line stop of the lines, and possible ways when the people is in the street. And then we have the event data, events like transport bus or tram is coming, or there is some road anymore. So the user is both talk about the cost of security.
Okay, so you can see on the slide the estimate cost of our technology for the city. So it's approximately 64,000 euros. So we decided to install 10,000 chips because we want to put chips at every crossroad and every tram, bus, and stops. So it removes a lot of chips. We estimate the number of blind people in Grenoble at 500 people. So that's why we find this number of RFID on the table. And the installation will take 1 month if we work at 3 people. So the average of people over here. In conclusion, our device is a social device because we don't make as much as profit. We want to sell it for every city. It's efficient and cheap technology. We have checked for similar patterns, and we know it's free. We are free to operate this technology, and we have an ergonomic interface because we don't have a design interface because it's not necessary for blind people, but we have vocal control and a lot of different technology. So thanks for your attention. Any questions, please?
Okay, so maybe we proceed with questions from the jury.
I have a question regarding when the user enters, the blind user enters the bus, for example, or the train, how does he find the NPC? Because he sat next to the non-blind person, but I don't know how he knew that he was available.
We thought about that, but we first thought about using cameras and machine learning to identify what can be a free seat and what can be a seat that's so fine, but it will cost really a lot of money. So in order to do social service in a startup, it will not be really good for the launch of a startup. But once a society can have enough money to invest this, at least in the machine learning processing and in the video camera to give to the city for each blind person, then every one of his own device. Already, like the dogs are you stay 2 minutes, so you can try the door.
Yeah.
So the building is just to signal that the door is open, if you can enter in it, and where approximately is, but we have still this count.
So it gives a different sound when the person enters, or it's just one sound?
No, it's just one sound.
Okay.
It's to locate the door approximately, and it's also to pronounce the door is open. It's exactly like when you want to cross a road, you have a signal from the non-vehicle. So you know the direction, and you know it's okay.
And it doesn't lean on the stick or anything, it's just this. Okay.
About the estimation, you estimated 500 blind people. How did you estimate that?
We took the global number of blind people in the world, and we know the ratio between the blind people and the whole population, and we know the population of Bruno, so we estimate by this.
And for the number of chips,
it's just an approximate number. It's because we start to count the number of trams, bus, and crossroads. But it was so difficult to count the crossroads. Stops are easy, but after.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In France. Next thing is in Turkey. Welcome to Turkey. I'd like to remind you that we have 8 minutes for your presentation and 3 minutes for questions and answers. Whenever you're ready. No, we don't have microphones, so if you can please speak up. We're ready today. We are here to solve a small problem for people who need food connection. And for the beginning, we want to know that the biggest factor here is people who are us, our friends, our families in our society. In a small company work, so today I'm going to solve a transportation problem for them and to make them easier to go from A to B and to make their lives in the future where they can. The biggest problem they face in their lives is, in transportation lives, is the recognition of the bus arriving to the bus station and understanding the moment to leave the bus. And to solve this, we are offering both mobile application and a hub device that will allow them to go from A to B without any problem, and some extra features such as payment structure and extra seat. Our customers are, the biggest customers are cities in developed countries that, since they have some good infrastructure for this system, and our key resources are knowledge on hardware, software, some finance, some network, and our team, that's me as a marketing manager, as Mohammed Ali, who has his own small hardware company, and Safal, who is a software developer. That's all for me. My friends will be talking about the technical details.
Okay, my friends. Our trip starts from a request of a customer given by voice to go from A to B. Our mobile application is connected to internet, gives several alternatives to our customers ordered by time and cost. And our customer selects one of them, and according to the selection, our system starts to explain how to go to the station. As an example, bus, when the bus approaches the station, our system, our customer gets notifications, and also bus driver gets notification in order to be careful. And our customer goes into the bus, and when she finds a special seat called, which is close to the gate. At this moment, the QR code will appear in the mobile app, in the mobile phone of the customer, and by showing this QR code to the special screen, which is next to the special seat, she unblocks the seat and she sits, and by doing so, she also pays the transportation cost. And after that, the bus approaches the final station. Both again, the customer and bus driver gets notifications, and our customer goes out to bus, and our system will guide our customer where she will go. And the train transportation is almost the same, and my friend will give details.
Thank you. Now I'm going to explain our system in a more technical way briefly. Before starting, note that our technical details of our system will be changed according to our infrastructure of our environment. So our system starts with the customer speaking to the smartphone, which is conducted by cloud-based voice recognition system, and our data is transferred and processed by Google database of maps, and its results, mostly it's optimized results. In this case, our optimized result is bus station, and its results given to the customer by voice response. And then by using the Google database of maps continuously, we assign our customer to the station, also by voice response. And when he comes to our station, whenever the bus comes to our station, both our customer and bus driver will be informed by wireless connection and our GPS system, if there's available GPS system. And also the data related to the place of our device, this device, will be informed to the customer with voice response again. And when he comes to the in front of our device, he shows her screen or phone to our QR reader. This reveals two vital processes. The first is unlocking our folding chair, and the second is our payment process, which will be conducted by PayPal. And the last day, through our customer's journey, since our system monitors the way of customer, our customer and our bus driver will be notified whenever the bus arrives, whenever our bus approaches to the bus stop. As you can see, the bus driver will be informed by a yellow signal whenever the bus approaches to the stop. At subway, we have some differences because there is no internet and no GPS. At the subway, the motion is controlled by a developed system, which is developed by Wayfinder company. Maybe we should work with them. And almost the remaining parts are same. Also, I would like to inform you some research about patents. We did some research about patents by using Google Patents and Espacenet as soon as possible as we can. So we inform some vital details such as the publication type. It includes some types such as application or grant. Here, grant, it means that the inventor has a right to stop us from working on his or her invention. So we should pay attention more in this situation. And also the application number, it includes CM and the other numbers, but it is vital also because the first initials gives us some information about the location of it. So we should consider all of this information whenever we start our system or.
And we have some last points about our business model and strategy. Our key partners are the companies such as Google, PayPal, and Wayfinder, and some organizations that are interested in the lives of people who are visually impaired people. And our customer relations is very important for us. We have one-to-one customer relations. We're going to each city and working with them separately. competitors, we have some competitors, but they're not solving the problem as a whole. They're solving the problems as a small problems, but our system solves the whole problem, and that's our advantage. And our cost structure is very complicated since it mostly depends on the infrastructure of the seats and other details. But we have some fixed cost of the building software and hardware, and some variable cost of devices. So our strategy for next few months is to build a prototype, and that needs a seed investment, and then we'll get in touch with the potential customers who are the governments and cities. That's all for us. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you very much, Turkey. So now we'll have some questions from you.
For the seats, how does the blind person find the QR code?
It's, as my friend said, actually, there is a voice recognition system, and it will show where to go. And it's very, it's known from the beginning that the QR code place, to show this place, is just next to the seat. So whenever the person finds the seat, he will be able to touch the QR system and just show his home, and that's all.
Okay, and then the unfolding of the seat. Actually, in every bus and tram, we need to build that in.
Yeah.
So in the cost model, that is quite expensive. Yes. Did I have another mistake?
Sure.
What about if you have two blind people?
We did not, actually we did think about it, but we are, let's say, avoiding such situations because it's very, let's say, rare to happen this in our.
They do school trips or coming together maybe also.
And that's one of them can sing and others can stay. Or maybe we will work on that.
Do you think it has any figure in terms of money or units you plan to build?
Can you ask me?
Any figures, any numbers?
Numbers in terms of to build the hardware and software. As a seed investment, since our friend has a small hardware building company, we don't think hardware will cost a lot. So the overall cost we think is about $40,000. That's all.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Overall, 40,000.
Just seed investment for the building the prototype.
Okay.
Other costs depends on the city and the infrastructure. If they have,
yeah.
If they have a good GPS system or not.
Okay. I see there are no more questions.
No.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, you can start. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Dear jury, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you our case study.
First of all, I would like to start with some basic introduction. According to WHO data from 2010, in Europe there were living more than 2.5 millions of blind people, which together with almost 24 millions of vision limited people, gather together more than 26 million of vision limited people, which is a really huge number. As you can see in the beginning of our case study, Evolving, we really tried to get a point of view of the people that we are working at solution for. So we have come up with a short list of problems that could occur in accessing public transport. To mention a few, I will start with problem in identification bus number, or boarding the wrong bus, or some difficulties in moving to our bus doors. So we have done some research on Spasnet. We started with Aside Corporation, which invented a particular method for fitting head-mounted vision. Basically, it's a glass system with advanced technologies and integrated camera, which shows modified images in front of people's eyes. But problem is that sadly, it's a relatively costly solution. One pair of glasses costs around $10,000, and it's not designed for totally blind people. The other solutions we have found was intelligent bus blind guide system. Basically, the technology was based on communication with smartphone application with a smart system integrated in the bus system, and it helps to navigate blind people and helps them to travel within the city. We have inspired with this solution in our case study, but we were dealing with 8 publications, so there were no problem with dealing with problems and so on, but then this estimate crashed, so we weren't able to gather more information sadly. So we have done additional research just on Google. It was Onyx Beacon solution, which was based on Bluetooth technology that it also communicated with your smartphone. It helped blind people to access the bus and travel from the city, and it's already used in Bucharest and Romania.
Okay, something about needs, demands, and human needs. Visually impaired people don't want to feel different. They want safe transport and easy to use and affordable solution. On the other hand, transport companies don't want to invest lots of money in something new, and they don't want to be limited in the operation and don't want to remake their vehicles. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our smart production game.
We try to use existing solutions and improve them somehow, put them into one powerful tool, which is EK. Nowadays, we have connection searching, we have walking optimization. Also, we have both together, as you can see here, we have Google. But this product is only for people without handicap. So basically, the only quantity which matters is time. But what really matters for people who are visually impaired are obstacles. So we implemented user-made obstacle database where users themselves can report stairs, road crossings, dangerous cars, and other obstacles. So, and also they can add some description of it. The advantage is obvious. When someone plans his road, he will know how many obstacles can he expect and what kind of obstacles can he expect. And also the app itself can adjust the path according to the database. You can see a simple example here in Brno with 4 major obstacles, but of course you can't show users this kind of map, so you will need another service. Another feature is real-time location of the vehicles. Here you can see an example of iris system here in Brno with all the public transport vehicles. This is needed for device which will be introduced later. And as I mentioned before, we need another service, and that's sound notification. So in here, instructs and navigates visually impaired people, and also you need to notify them when, for example, bus arrives and when they should exit the vehicle. And easy payment procedure is ensured by nowadays very up-to-date methods, as you can see in the picture.
So we are using the device which is installed in a vehicle near the front seat,
It uses speaker, GPS, and Wi-Fi to inform the passengers to leave the front seats in advance, and also it navigates our customers to their seats, and it has multiple voices to avoid the situation of more customers and at the same station in the same time with more buses. Our business model is based on EK brand, which is using human solidarity. For example, in Czech Republic, there are hundreds of thousands of people are collecting those cups of bottles to help people with disabilities. And in our case, they can buy our app to donate us, and also they can use that app because it's useful for everybody, and they can report an obstacle. When we speak about the localization of our brand, our customers are all over Europe. So from the economical point of view, the only market which we are allowed to enter is the whole continent, with more than 26 potential customers, 26 million customers. And this economical analysis is showing you that our incomes came from application sales, also from funds like European Union and cities, and also from transport companies which are using our brands. And all transport companies can join us and help with us. They can be big and small, doesn't matter. Also, our investments will be in app and device development and producing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, let me conclude. In our opinion, we have come up with a unique combination of smart application and device, which is very low solution, and both together product very feasible product. I would like to mention the biggest advantages of our concept, which are real-time location of public transportation vehicles in the city. Also, like power optimization both by transporting vehicles and by walk, and also the huge database of obstacles that every user can actually report in, both the location of obstacles or estimated time that it would take to get through them. I would like to also mention payment procedure, which is very simple and wireless, and that our concept is very easy to be used and to be installed. So here you can see the list of our references. Thank you for your attention. And now there is some time for questions.
So we may proceed from the questions from the jury.
Yes. The sound amplification, I understand, is in here. And I saw the blue device where you say this should be in the bus apart. Can you explain a little bit more? So there are two things. You have something in here.
Basically, the main communication with the customer is through the in-ear like headphone, and it tells customer the bus just arrived and that get into it.
And the phone is connected to your smartphone.
And the application in the bus actually makes sounds to let the people know that the visually impaired person is incoming and that they should leave the front seats, which are clearly marked by for those people. So there is also a sign that is for the blind people. Main notification.
But within the situation that someone sits on someone, so it makes noise to please leave these front seats for the blind people. Yeah.
Now I understand. Thank you very much.
I have a question regarding the name. EK. Why did you choose that name?
It was free. It's not in use in some.
We wanted to use e-stick, but it's used for electronic cigarettes. So but it's for white stick.
Because the other name for the white stick is like white cane people, so everyone can.
And there is no cane in your.
Sorry?
In your system there is no cane.
No cane.
No,
because it's
just
not
there's like e-cane because it's
Cameras.
Yeah, cameras. Yeah, because e-cane, you don't need cane. Yeah.
Thank you.
have easy pay procedure. I understand the paying procedure. How is it that you know that the customer comes in and goes out and what he has to pay?
They pay for the application. The application will cost about 2 euros, and they pay for the service they receive from with the application. The service is the whole thing what was mentioned. The path optimization and finding the right transport and so on.
But how do you pay for travel from
Actually, yeah, when you are incoming, when you are actually like arriving to the bus, they need to pay for it, and like ordinary system, when there is some man controlling the tickets, they could check like the ticket in application whether they pay for the.
It could be connected with your credit card or through your paper account. So
it senses the customer.
it must be easy to use. So this is the easiest way. Easiest then to bring some money to driver or something like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So the next thing presented is theme battle, and I would like to remind you that we have 8 minutes for questions and 3 minutes for question round from the jury.
8 minutes for questions?
Sorry, my mistake, 3 minutes. 8 minutes and 3 minutes for questions. So you may start whenever you are ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are a team from Moscow, Logic and Logistics. Allow me to present you our team. So this handsome guy in yellow, Oleg, our team leader and the best guy of all. So he actually organized us and brings his work and to remain human beings. And Eleonora, our technical and managerial expert, she actually tells if our solutions can come true. Well, Tatiana, our designer and regulation master. Well, what can I say? Beauty saves the world, huh? And I, engineer and linguist in one body. So actually this is the final day of our competition, and we are facing the final and ultimate task to perform. Taking care of disabled people is very, very important nowadays. It shows how humane we are. So let's start.
Imagine, a blind person goes to their parents or friends by public transport. The first goal is to walk a road to select an appropriate transport, and in jury are coming to. In this way, numerous obstacles such as borders, motorways, steps, doors, etc. As a blind person reaches the transport stop, they must be able to define how to pay for a ticket, how to find a receipt, and when to get out of the transport in time. All these problems make life of blind people extremely hard and difficult. So let's think, how can we make their lives easy? On the next slide, you can see several results of our patent researches. Here, the wristwatch with built-in Wi-Fi system and silent bracelet for traffic lights. On the next slide, you can see navigation bracelet and navigation display. We used these inventions as a part of our solution. Separated, they are not very rich in functions, but together with our solution, they are a device of maximum use for blind people. So that's us to present you our brilliant solution.
Well, our solution actually consists of 2 main parts. Firstly, it's the smartphone using the Braille keyboard, as you can see here, and second thing is the smart bracelet. Well, let me introduce you also some extra systems that we use in our solution.
Firstly, it's of course a very ingenious system of vibration to use a gyroscope to actually work in all dimensions. Then we use Bluetooth to actually connect our system to any other device if there's such a need. Then we also use the microsonar. It's a sensor area in front of us. After all, we have the NFC payment system. It allows us to pay with all the protocols for blind people, so we use reduced payments and the full payments, of course. And last but not the least is microphone, monitor. Well, that's it. Okay. So let's actually take a walk from point A to point B. But first of all, we can know what point B is. So we actually press here a small button and say something like, calculate my route to, well, not the route, you just have to say the place you want to go. Our system uses a small suggesting system that's inside our software that actually interrogates our blind person just a bit in order to make the point be as precise as possible so we don't get lost. So we are on the streets now. The microsonar on our bracelet scans the area in front of us, so we don't bump into any obstacles. And also we use the vibrating system that actually physically leads us to the point. So it vibrates in the direction we want to go, we need to go. So we are at the bus stop now and we have to pay for a ticket. What are two options? Firstly, of course, we can just get into the bus and pay by cash. Or we can use the NFC chip inside our bracelet. So we just touch the terminal of it and it's done. We got our trip paid. Inside the bus or any other transport, we have to find a seat that is for disabled people. So, of course, we can come to any seat and just scan if it is free or not, or we can use the Bluetooth system, and each actually requires sensors inside each seat for disabled people. And the sensor tells if it's occupied or not. If it's not, so it's free, and we approach it, and our bracelet starts to vibrate just a bit to tell us if it's free and we can use it. Well, after our trip, we can know where and when to come out of the box. So all the transport use sound system. It's okay, but actually, if we approach the door and it's our stop, the bracelet starts to vibrate pulsely, so we know for sure when to come out. Now, some meters to cover are left, and we can actually meet our friends, family, whatever. Done. Our journey is completed. So now let's take a look at all these systems that have been used, but they're not very informative here. So let's take a look at our competitors.
Okay, on this slide you can see how our product differs from competitors' ones. Our solution is the best because it includes all functions of devices as shown here. The main advantage is wiper evacuation because no one else has this function. The business model is presented as a GANS diagram. It demonstrates launching and promotion of our product. And as a startup, we plan to hit the market shortly.
So every single unit sold is profitable. To make it more acceptable for everyone, payment by installment is an option. Charity funds and support centers for disabled people can also be involved in distribution. As an option, we offer extra services, upselling and cross-selling. Then we'll define the possible sales channels. We sell through internet, intermediaries, and all sales outlets. For each of these channels, there are some possible scenarios which you can see on this slide. When using our device, we also mark out some risks. First of all, it's possible that the GPS signal can be lost. We can run out of energy during a long trip. The informational noise can be another source of headache. Also, we shouldn't forget that the body condition isn't perfect today. And finally, there can appear some unexpected conditions that only God can fix.
So we actually came to our final slide, and we would like to thank you for your attention, for your being patient. But there is one last piece of information we want to deliver you. This problem requires a lot of attention. Everyone requires a lot of attention. Thank you.
You have something to add?
Yeah, just one line. So as this presentation is just for 8 minutes, we would like to hear your questions to, advance it a bit. So yeah, we are ready to answer your questions.
That was my line, but thank you. You may proceed.
I have a question for the last slide. I understand what's meant by upselling and cross-selling.
Well, upselling and cross-selling is all about the services. Upselling is about the some extra accessories that can be with our solution. So like maybe a handheld system, or maybe an hour bracelet for our friends, and so on and so forth. But it's about making profit out of it. Well, the cross-selling is about selling the part of the products by updating our product. So if we got like a new product, we inform our customer and he buys it.
How do you pay if there is, how do you pay? So it is via the bracelet, it senses that you come in, it senses that you go out, or is it that the whole set of services that you buy by telling you that you want to go from here to there?
Yeah, thank you for your brilliant question. We actually had no time to explain it, so now it's our high time. So our system is smart enough. It analyzes the area in front of us, and of course, by the GPS locator inside of it, it actually analyzes our route. So it actually tells us where to pay and how to pay. Well, it can be also be delivered. This information can be delivered via earphones, probably. Well, the question about upselling, right? Earphones can also be added to our product. And actually the paying, well, it uses the NFC system, so it's no problem. Everyone uses it right now. Like Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, and also we have smart systems at our restaurant.
The wristband is connected with a smartphone, plus the device that you've shown, which is a special information for blind people with blind, no?
No. Well, actually, smartphone is used only as a processor for all the smart systems. We don't need to make it hard, so it will be heavy, it will be unpleasant to use. So smartphone does all the calculations, and also it has the GPS system. Actually, this is the point. Yes. And no, so we have just bracelet and smartphone. That's it. 2 devices in our solution.
Okay. If there's no question from the jurors, I would like to thank you very much, Team Baltic.
Thank you.
So I would like to remind you as well that you have 8 minutes for presentation and then 3 minutes for question round from the jurors. Whenever you are ready, you may start.
Hello everyone, we are Team E136 from Serbia. We are software engineers, and please visit our website for more information about us. Today we help visually impaired people and we have business plan separated into multiple sections, which will cover all the presentation. So for the first section is users, and our users are visually impaired people. And our goal is to make public transport more accessible to all people, especially those in need one. And this is our user, and we want to add a few gadgets to him, like tablet, Segway, smartwatch, service dog, smart cat. And we see that's a lot of gadgets, and that's not the way we are going to work, because people are looking weird, and the cost is high also a lot of useless gadgets.
So our solution is to use beacons, and we have two types of beacons: it's sticker beacon and ultra wideband beacons. And our plan is to make the whole city with these beacons. So this is the easiest technology for the user, because the user just needs to have smartphone with installed application that we will provide, and we also using technology that is existing, such as Bluetooth, GPS, and iBeacons, and it was the patent number on slide. So we have two types of beacons, and this is the difference. A smaller sticker beacon has a much smaller number of ports, but this one bigger has better battery life, better connections, and different type of sensors. And for this task, the safety was the biggest problem, and we solved that because we're using GPS and beacons, so the location is more precise, and we also can locate user indoor, and we implemented smart notifications for traffic lights and crosswalks.
Okay, for the technology, we are using an example in the city of Brno. So the radius of the city is 5 kilometers, and we want to cover almost the whole city by placing beacons all around the city. And they are transmitting data to the users of their location and other notifications. So as for the route planning, the user uses our app that's connecting and interacting with the beacons, and the user is using the app by voice recognition, so NLP technology, and the user is presented with a few paths. So the paths are audibly presented, so the user hears what's presented to him, and he can speak back to choose the specified path. As for the tickets, we plan to give the system free to the people with visual problems. And if the tickets need to be paid, we can use the existing technology like NFC and contactless payment, which is in spread use in Czech Republic, as we asked some people. Also, you can see the patent number in the right corner, also for the previous product. As for the entering and exiting the bus, the technology already exists, and that's the classical sound that's emitted near the door, so the user can navigate to the door. And the other important thing, this is the proof of concept how the system will work. So beacons are placed, as you can see, there's a beacon for a bus stop down here, there, and the bus comes from there and stops at the stop, and the user gets notified about that. This is the more detailed plan. So we have our beacons, so notification is shown bus stops for bus 1099, and when the bus is coming, they get a notification that the bus has arrived or is arriving. It's in the transport. So as for transportation, we have 9 sensors in the bus. The red ones are for local positioning of the user inside the bus, and the blue one is the one who has the biggest range that's used for detecting the bus when it's coming to the station or other points. As for the seats, they use also one of the patents, and they use pressure sensors to detect if the seat is occupied, so the user can know, the application will show him if there are free seats in the bus. As for the crosswalks with lights, the beacons have GPIO ports that are connected to the semaphores, and they communicate with the users to say, for example, the red light is on or the green light, so the user can pass. As for the crosswalk without traffic lights, as you can see, the user is notified and he can cross safely on the pathway. We have also an admin panel, which can be used by family to assist their loved ones to see them, and also city officials can see anonymous telemetry data about the usage of the system.
So about the marketing, since we're not selling this product to the end users, we're selling it to the city officials.
We don't need aggressive marketing campaign. We only need to like place promotional posters in the bus to notify its users in the public transport about new changes. And of course, we're going to notify all organizations and associations of visually impaired people so we can teach them how to use effectively our products. About product life cycle, in January 2018, we're going to start developing the prototype. In April, negotiation with the city representative starts. In June, development is finished and tested, and we get in August 2018 $200,000 from the city. Installation starts in September, ends in December, and in January 2019, system is in use. About the financial part, since we have a lot of sensors, for city mapping we need to use the bigger sensor. Its location multi-wideband beacons, and we need around 2,000 of them. Recommended retail price is $40 for that one, but for the order this large, price is probably going to be 2 times smaller, and also these sensors need outdoor cases to withstand weather. So this is how they look. For the smaller ones, we calculated that for 300 vehicles, and each vehicle has 2 wagons, we need 10 speakers beacons, and they're a lot smaller, and we need this amount of money for the total. And for stops, for 100 stops and 1 beacon with a high range, we need this amount of money. So, and also, yeah, for traffic lights, we want to notify the user. We want to place each beacon in one semaphore light, and so the users around it can actually see on their smartphone or feel the color of the semaphore. So this is the total price for hardware and software development and support. About future expansion. So we want to improve the efficiency of the system. Once we put it in real-time test, we will get the feedback and improve it. We want to remove possible flaws, and we can actually promote this whole system for tourism and advertisements to the app, because we know the locations of users and they can get the relevant information surrounding it. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Team Balkan. So time for questions.
Yes. The costs that you mentioned for the beacons and the app, is it the cost that you ask to?
It is the cost for us as a company to make it. And in those timeline, it says like once we start negotiating with the city, and then we wrote like we get €200,000 for that in the timeline. So that's like half of the cost needed for the hardware and software development, and half of the cost we use to pay the people who will install that, and actually that's into us, like part of that. So no, go later to the table. So this is how much it costs us to buy these things. So this is how much it costs us as a company. And then later in the timeline, we wrote.
You will charge us double, so 200,000.
Also, we didn't calculate like everything because we didn't know.
What happens when after 1 year when the beacons you planted plenty of beacons, thousands of beacons around the city? What happens with that after 1 year?
Instead of the difference between them is that one has 5-year life and the other has 1 year life, and that's actually only in the battery. But battery for the bigger one costs half of the dollars to change, and these iBeacons for the consumers, the small one doesn't have the possibility to change the battery, but that's like a really small change to make if you order. If you need to buy a big amount of them, like company can make that adjustment. But literally only the battery needs to be changed, and the battery is $50. So that's the only limitation in their life, not like that's something you're going to break in. Okay?
Do you have any other questions, or? How do you pay?
What I was paying?
No, how do you pay if you
which have NFC sensors, and once the person places that sensor to the reader can read from some other server, like what's how much money does that user have, and then decrypt the money for that.
Okay. If there is no any other questions, just time is up. We don't have any other questions. So thanks for dressing up so nicely also for us, and thank you very much for being And a small thing, you had a tie in the presentation, which you didn't have.
Hello everyone, my name is and we are the team Compound. Today we are going to introduce you the guiding eye component. But before we start with this idea, we just go through our new technologies. First of all, we came up with the idea that contains sensors, cameras, guiding material. And then actually we went through the testnet and we just figured out that it's already patented before a couple of months. Then we searched for the same technology but containing wheels. After that, we just figured out, we go through the hearing method, and it's about a Bluetooth headphone, just giving the blind person the commands through the voice guidance. And finally, the glasses with the camera, the smart glasses. So actually, what are the problems with this idea? First of all, the cane. The cane, it gives us, it's that the blind person is usually tagged with abnormal view. So like the traditional way, a blind person carrying a cane. Second of all, it's big, as we know, and it takes a lot of space in a crowded area. Then to the hearing method, actually we found out that it's too risky, so the person cannot react immediately after getting his commands. And then to the smart glasses, we found out that it's too expensive for a normal person to afford. As you mentioned, we have this type of aid that helps achieving our objective. So we actually wanted to get outside the box and invent our new idea, and it's about this new company. Now my colleague Rizan will continue with this new idea.
Okay, so before getting on what we found in these three dots that you guys left us in the guiding area, I want to talk about the aim of our company, of our startup. Our aim is to provide a cheap product for people to help them guide them through their day-to-day life. But I'm going to explain that later on in the presentation. The second thing is to provide services for people who don't have money to buy the new technologies. The services are going to be simple. He's going to order the guiding eye on his app, and then the guiding app will come on in the shape of a drone. This drone will have a string attached to it. The person is going to hold the string and be guided to his destination. Of course, the drone is going to have a camera on it. The camera is attached to a system designed by us. This system is going to identify objects around it, calculate distances between it, and help the person move between people seamlessly. The person is going to feel safe because he is guided hand by hand to his destination. So now, before I talk about our product, which is the main thing of our startup, I want to tell you what we took into consideration. First of all, the concept of the trip. Many people might think that the trip from A to B is just a line drawn on the map, but actually it's more complicated. There are people that the person might bump into, there are unidentified objects, and there are cars, so it's more complex. Second of all, we want to talk about the problems, like for example, paying money. He has to figure out what kind of money he has in his hand, and this will cost time. Third of all, we took into consideration what kind of solutions does a blind person have. He can either have his sight back, which is of course using the camera glasses. It's too expensive for many people, and he can be escorted by a person, which is inefficient, by a dog or a cane, which had the problems from before. Now to our idea, which is the iPad. As you can see, the iPad is a pad that's going to be worn around the waist. We chose for it to be a pad, so it can be centered at the body. It doesn't use much space. It will be moving, of course, with the directions. I will explain that later. And so it will let the person feel safe because he's guiding his own body with his own body. So this path is going to be having a system inside it, like I said, we're going to develop it for identifying objects. It's going to identify the objects using the 3 cameras. We chose 3 cameras so we can have a 360 view of the surrounding. And we're going to have automatic sliding pockets. In these pockets, the person can put his stuff and identify them using the camera. So for example, he says, using the earpiece, of course, 5 euros. The pocket with 5 euros will open and he will take the 5 euros. When he wants to put money back, he's going to show it to the camera. The camera is going to identify it using normal apps that we have on our phones now and open the according pocket. For example, 10 euros, 2 euros, and so on. He can also put IDs in it and so on. We also have a small screen for QR code. This screen is going to have, for example, a bus ticket as a QR code and so on. The most thing and the revolutionary thing about our idea is the moving arms. I'm going to explain that in a moment, just wait for it. Before I do that, I'm going to talk about connectivities. Our system is going to be connected to Google Maps. We chose Google Maps specifically because it has a transport method. So whenever I say the address to the pack, it's going to use Google Maps to see how can I get there, find the ultimate path, and direct me to it. There's going to be object recognizing program, like I said, we're going to develop that. And of course, there's connection to traffic light system. This system will be connected to traffic light system in order to know which light is on, which light is off, and to find the best path to go to, and of course, expect when the person has to stop. All of this will be configured from a phone app in order to make the communications easy. Now to the functionality of the sliding arms. As you can see, this is from above, this is from below. From below, we're going to have a plastic part or a hard cover with 2 arms attached to it. These arms are movable and they will move in order to direct the pack away from the body, push the pack away from the body. I'm going to explain this with an example. So, for example, if the body is if the person is moving forward and he has to go left according to this curve, the arm is going to, on the right side is going to push the pack to the left side according to the angle of the curve, and then the person is going to follow this motion, pushing the arm back to its zero state. When it's in the zero state, it will be moving forward. If not, he will keep on moving at the curve. Of course, this is safe. It will make him feel safe because it's at the center of his body. Now, trip from A to B. As you can see, moving the street is not a problem anymore because he has this iPad. When he goes onto the bus, he's going to be able to pay because he can command how much money he can pay easily and not waste time using paying. He can just say 5 euros, give 5 euros, and so on. He can find a seat and not sit on any people like you guys said in the presentation because the camera is going to recognize which seat is empty and which seat is not and going to guide him there using the movement of the arms. And finally, he's going to go outside and continue on his way. Now to the freedom to operate, as you can see, we use basic stuff just like cameras, a small screen. So no patents are on these stuff, but of course after experimenting our product, we might insert some sensors. If we do so, we're going to have to look for patents for these sensors and see if we are free to operate. Now for the business plan, our target group are people with low or medium living situations because we want it to be affordable. Of course, the estimated cost is not 1,000 euros, but we are aiming to make it a maximum of 1,000 euros. We're going to be saving on material, we're going to be saving on cameras, and most of the price is going to be paid on the system that's operating, recognizing objects and detecting distances. For the marketing, we're going to be giving blind people a real-life experience in their communities and allowing them to try our path, and of course personalized meetings with them because the number of people who are blind in the city is controlled and we can do that. Now to our motto, this is the motto of our team. America has its own Silicon Valley and we are aiming to establish our own. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephen and Adrian. Now it's time for questions from the judges.
Yes. Imagine in Silicon Valley, in Adria or Erlangen surroundings, Nuremberg surroundings, it's winter, and you wear your winter coat. You're blind, you have your belt. You need to have it outside your coat to have the cameras visible. How, in your winter coats, do you feel the arm gloves?
Actually, we thought of rain and snow because we live in winter, in the winter situation. So we thought of designing some special jackets where it's open from this side, or where you can put, for example, you wear your jacket and then put the iPad around your jacket, like on the outside, and create a cover for this iPad. Like for example, we're going to create a waterproof cover for this iPad, where it's open, where the camera should be. It's movable, it's flexible. So in order to solve this situation.
It's a solution with the arms, with moving arms.
The arms can be moved, like I said, if we create the pack which is flexible, so the arms can be pushing the pack that we created and allowing it to move. Of course, we didn't design it yet, but that was the main idea behind it.
Okay. Second question is the arms, they move mechanically. Correct in the motor. And did you think about the energy consumption of the motor?
Actually, we didn't think about the exact energy consumption, but the pack is really big, like it's covering a huge amount of space. So inserting a certain amount of batteries won't be a problem, like by the cell phone. We can insert 2 batteries, 3 batteries in order to have maximum charge life and keep the pack available for an entire day. Of course, this happens after experimenting and seeing what's the best energy consumption that we can have and supply that to the pack.
How you hold this pack around the waist? Is there 2 arms?
Yeah, they're going to be connected behind, just like a normal pack. It's going to be from here to here. It's going to be a strip, like normal pack. From here to here, it's going to be hard because the arms are going to be moving. You can manage to make it larger or smaller here, for example, in case of jacket or in case of someone being larger. Like I said, from here to here, it's going to be like fast and it's going to be moving, but in the back, it's going to be still.
What weight do you use to make this whole pack?
Weight? The weight of the pack. We actually didn't think of that, but that should be with more research. We should have an idea about how much will it weigh. But probably we're going to be using not cheap material, but like basic material like plastic, or because the idea is not that complex. You don't need the material to be hard. The system can be inserted inside the plastic covering. So we're thinking it shouldn't be that heavy.
We start, I would like to remind you that we have 8 minutes for presentation and 8 minutes to answer the questions from the juries. And also, this much. You may start.
Good morning everybody, we are EBEC and this is our presentation for your case study. And so these are the things we will talk about today. So we want to do a mobile application, but why a mobile application? And so because it's more accessible for people with disabilities, and so for them it's easier to use. So an example of this is the voiceover feature that has all the items, that gives the possibility to a blind person to see or to read what is written on the screen without seeing it. And this is an example of how he's using this feature, the voiceover.
Voiceover on. FaceTime. Google Maps.
Yeah, you can see that.
Double tap. Directions. Button. Direction. Back. Button. Choose destination. Ellipsis. Choose query. Text field. Is edited. No. No.
To reach a destination.
Back. Button.
And so, what is so this is the pattern of the apple of the voiceover. And this is our strategies. We want to extend this type of application, such as the Google Maps, to make these ones more accessible for this type of users. And or another alternative is to develop our own mobile application ex novo. And so now I want to tell you the user journey, because we want to guide the user throughout all the journey from the source to the destination. Both outdoors and indoors. Outdoors problems are, for example, traffic lights that are not always accessible for blind people because they have to listen to the sounds that it's not always there. And the obstacle detection. For the traffic lights, a solution could be using the geofencing feature. That geofencing is a virtual perimeter for a real-world geographical area that allows user to receive a notification when he is close to a certain position, such as these ones, that can tell the user that he is near a traffic light, and he can understand if that traffic light is accessible or not. In this way, we can provide him a better path, a safer path to reach his destination. That, when he's outdoor, will be, for example, the bus station or the train station, where he will encounter other problems.
So once the user is inside the public transport, so it's inside the bus, we want to help him as well. And we want to have him overcome this kind of problems, such as difficult orientation, or that he doesn't know where exactly he is in a bus travel. So to do that, we want to use beacon sensors that are basically Bluetooth sensors that we want to put in bus, metro and tram, and also in the state metro station, as in the following picture we can see. Here we have 3 beacon sensors and the path route designed by the application that the blind person has to follow by the audio assistance. We found the patent of that on the SpaceNet, and while another idea could be to use seat load sensors. These are basically sensors that can understand if someone is if the place is empty or not. So we want to put it basically for the chairs of reserved for people with disability, and so that the blind person can get enough notification on app and can decide if the next bus that is coming, there is a free place or not, so you can decide to wait for another bus or to go inside. And we found on the SpaceNet the patent for that as well. This is our idea of a bus. So with the 2 beacon sensors, 3 seat load sensors, and the GPS for the route. These beacon sensors are basically used to help the blind person to follow, to guide him for the exit and the entrance.
So we have to talk about business. We can see the business model canvas, and we highlight the partnerships like Bruno and his public transport, people for paying tickets on the app, and eventually Google and Citymapper. Below we can see the revenue streams that would be the ticket payment fee, in-app advertisement, data selling, sensor system renting. And also we can see cost structure that will be the developing cost for the application, marketing, and sensor. And we can see an example of the sensor cost of a single bus shown in the picture before.
And last but not least, we have further improvements. So our next challenges, that will be basically the bone conduction headphones. That is this accessory that helps blind people to listen both the audio assistance and the sounds of the environment, so that it could happen and it's more safe. After we have the other smart devices that can help them for the object detection and localization, such as a smart stick or smart camera glasses with, that can help them for the safety as well. And basically, to sum up our idea, our presentation, is that we want to create a mobile application that helps blind people to go from a place to another. We want to guide them from the entire journey. We want to help them through this audio assistance from both indoor and outdoors. For do that, we use different technologies, such as geofencing for the outdoor and GPS, or for the indoor, the beacon system that I explained before. So, to conclude, I would say that in this way we will help blind people to be more safe and for sure it will be easier for them to travel. And so, thank you for the attention. Let's make the world accessible to everyone.
Thank you very much, Team Italy. Now it's time for questions.
So well done with 3 people who rented the 4th one. The question I have is the freedom to operate. So you have the app, you have the indoor, everything outside, and you may or may not have to steer, I don't know, smart how you showed technical applications, you showed visuals also, how is it with the phases to operate?
We don't know already, when the user itself will buy, himself will buy the accessories that we talked about, that will be outsourced to other companies, so the pattern will be dealt with by the other companies, so we have control of it. And for the app, the only problem are beacons, but beacons are easy to make, are not really, that cannot be really patented, because I mean they can be made in several different ways by, for example, just a Bluetooth sensor, a Bluetooth antenna, and a small microchip. So it can be really made in different ways. So for beacons, there is no real problem about patents. And for load sensors, they also can be bought by from other companies because they are cheap, but I would say it's the best idea to buy them and not produce by ourselves, because it's more cheap, and it's easier to buy them.
Our basic idea was to create the application and this sensor, so the beacon sensor and the load sensor. The other improvement was just like a new challenge for the future, if like our startup will grow, and so it's like the new challenges that we will have.
Yeah, I have a second question, the geofencing. For the geofencing, you also need some kind of emitters.
No, it's just like that you give the system the position, the coordinates. You can tell here there is a semaphore that is accessible for blind people and information like that. You can even sell to Google Maps, for example, because there are some cities such as San Francisco where with Google Maps you can even have direction in the airport. In the railway station.
You don't need beacons because you have fixed buildings that don't move.
Yes. Outside of the GPS system. The problem is indoor when we need beacons to be more precise.
Okay.